Morning, it's Priscilla Batzell in Spring Hill, Florida at Expressionist Art Studio Gallery in the backyard. And the light may change because we've got clouds going over the sun. But I have in front of me a 16 by 20 inch canvas and some glasses, yes! And a strong desire to do something similar to something else I've done recently. It looks like my canvas was in the way of something like a splatter of paint. I wonder where that could have come from. Anyway, this is my OXO omelet turning spatula, and the reason I'm covering a diagonal half of my canvas with black is I've done a couple other similar starts lately, and I liked how they turned out. This is not going to be the same as they were, but it's where I want to start, and if I use my spatula to pull a bead of paint right over to the edge, chances are very good, especially if I push my canvas to the edge of that tile, that I'll get some paint that'll overflow. And even if I don't, the spatula will pick up a nice bead of paint for me to put on that edge, and then I have one less thing to worry about. I could show you, but so I'm figuring, even though the black doesn't always cover in one layer, we'll have enough paint on top of it not to worry about it. I think I may have forgotten to get myself an edge catcher, but I know there are a whole bunch of them right handy, so I'll find one and it won't take me long. And now we're covered pretty much. I'm going to knock off the rest of that paint right on the last edge I need to cover. And figure the rest will be taken care of in good time. What is that? A bubble. Usually we torch to release the bubbles in the paint. I don't do that to start with because I do so much manipulation of the paint usually that it's not as called for. That's my theory. So far it's working for me. I'm going to give myself some white paint on this other side. Oh, if I can open the bottle. Everything is shaken well because it has GAC 800 and pouring mediums, a half and half mixture of Floetrol with Deco Art pouring medium in it. And mixing those pouring mediums in will often add bubbles, especially since I keep all my paint in squeeze bottles. And they're already mixed. I keep them in there with a marble. And then I shake them before I use them, which gives them even more bubbles. Now I don't know how this is going to work, but I did a puddle pour that turned into a multi-puddle pour that I wound up tipping so much that I lost the integrity of the puddles, and I really liked the fact that they had a lot of paint surrounding them. So I had a choice of two things I was going to do today, and this is one of those two things. So I'm not going to worry about a little bit of gray. In fact, I kind of like it. I was thinking about using it as a scape the other day when I was pulling chain. So let's just not worry too much about that right now, as best I can, which is a tall order sometimes. I'm going to knock most of my paint off right over here. Just blow it into the composition and start. I don't know if I want to do the puddle pours as much as I want to do what I just thought of, which is just to give myself a reason to use my squeeze bottles. I think I want that to go down over the edge, which means leading it with a... Ow! Don't knock your bottles over. Plus I have a nice ball on the end of that. If you catch it early on, paint will often heal itself. We'll see if I'm right. Of course, I'm also leading the white paint from the background through the foreground. I don't use a lot of copper, but I love the copper. Yeah, we had something in there that needs to come out. And basically, this is going to be copper, silver, and gold, if I can pick up the gold I want. I'm a little slow this morning, I gotta say. I don't usually work until about 5 hours later than this, usually. Maybe 4. I'm looking for the silver. I just put it out in front of me. Let's see if I can decide on where I want that to go, or if it'll even come out. I think a skewer will resolve my issue. I hope so. I hope there's enough paint in there, honestly. So I'm just putting spirals in, of course. Spirals being something I love a lot. Obviously, the chances are good I'm also going to use some black on the white. And I may stop short, like that, just so I can leave the tip out a little further. I'm not sure how that's going to work yet. But my inclination is to steal a little paint, put it right in there, because I can. The name of my book, Volume 1. On the Amazon link. I'm not sure I like how that looked, but I'll probably be tipping a little bit. And if I'm not, that's okay too. I will make up my mind as we go along, but I do want a point on the inside of those spirals, which may require me to add a little something something to make it look a little better. I don't even know if this will work, but I'll tell you what, if it doesn't work, then I will be swiping and or chain pulling. And I could loop these over, and I think I might. We'll see. I haven't got quite to that place yet. So far, so good. Sort of like Zentangle with squeeze bottles. And I want some more silver, and I think it's going to go right over here. There is no perfection in squeeze bottle additions, so I get what I get, and I learn to love it or don't love it. And I'm going to use some white pearl too. I don't have a plan. I don't know how this is going to look. I'm kind of hopeful that I can still get away with it. When I did it the last time, it was very cool. Got to be careful about how fast your paint is exiting your squeeze bottles. Just pay attention. I think it'll be okay. So far so good. I'm sorry I'm quiet. I'm not used to doing this, and you know, somebody said they thought I couldn't work without talking, but that is not the truth. I'm just used to talking while I work now. Ooh, that came out way too fast. Okay, learn to love it. I like that. I like the join up of the little spaces. Doesn't keep me from wanting to pull some of that out, and I'm not sure how that looks yet. Like I said, there's always the possibility that I may tilt just a little bit. I could do all kinds of stuff with this design, including, you know, stick chain in, and I'm kind of liking the way that there's dendrites forming, which makes it very cool. Not sure why that is. Something in the composition. Silver, gold, yeah. What is it going to be? It's hard being a perfectionist and trying to set things up so that they work out the way you want. Obviously, you're never going to get exactly what you want. but you can usually make what you get into something interesting. Assuming you don't get a blob of Floetrol clogging your tip, like sometimes. I'll be lucky if I get something I like the first time too. But that does leave me open to choosing to do whatever I want at that point. Which for me is not the worst case scenario. So far so good. I usually have something of a built-in sense of composition if I'm lucky, more often than not. And we got our first double black line. I think that requires something else. I'm kind of enjoying watching them spread out and become more organic looking and less contrived. I wasn't sure how I was going to feel about how they spread out, but I'm not hating it. And like I said, there are alternatives to what might happen as I finish this. The white I'm using in the squeeze bottle is an Anita's Metallic. And I'm thinking I'm going to fill in a bunch of black on the other side. I know I could do a whole lot of things to this, and I probably shouldn't. That was my problem the last time, is I loved the stage that it was at when I continued on, and I didn't ruin it, I just didn't like it as much anymore. And I really liked filling up the canvas with the black lines. This one's a little dangerous because I snipped the tip off to make it easier to manage. But it also sort of changes up the design so you don't know exactly what you're going to get. I like throwing in the little odd, anomalous, weird triangles and stuff. This is dangerous here, because it could very easily flow together. Like that. Shouldn't have said that. That jinxed me. Oh well. Like I said, you get what you get. And it could encourage all kinds of things we don't have yet, like that. That. I think I won't use. Yep, I like spiraling out the centers. That kind of works for me. I could probably go along some edges and just change things up so that they continue to look more organic. I'm trying to see if there's any place left I need to add anything, and I don't see much. Really and truly. I like the gold on the white. That's a tease. I'm not sure I like pulling out the end strands like that as much as I thought I would. I could add some dots, and I think I need some black right there. I'm going to try and go short so that when it blobs like it does, pay attention to how your paint's coming out of your bottles and it'll probably be alright. That is very close to being it. Whatever else I add is encroaching on overkill. I am very familiar with overkill. And then there's the moment when you realize that whatever you're doing is actually working and you shouldn't stop, because you're afraid. And you know, even if it doesn't turn out exactly like you wanted it to at that time, you can do something else to it. I don't think I have nearly enough silver in here. And where do I start? Let's start over here. See how we like that. Here comes overkill. But like I said, I like the way things are feathering out. And I don't have a lot of silver, so just as soon not run out. I might actually have to make some more up after this. So I think that's about done. Now I just have to decide what I'm going to do with it, if anything. It looks pretty cool though, honestly. I was sort of trying to get myself to leave one of these the way they are. And I'm not sure what I would do different. I know if I tip it, it will change dramatically. I know I could probably let it dry and add dots tomorrow, and that might be kind of cool. I don't like it when I see the drag marks. I'm sure I'm not the only one. I don't know. This is Priscilla Batzell in Spring Hill, Florida at Expressionist Art Studio Gallery in the backyard going, I don't know. Give me a thumbs up if you like my experiments. And look for Facebook groups, Expressionist Art Studio Gallery Appreciation Group for Students, and Expressionist Art Studio Gallery Fans and Collectors for Fans and Collectors. And if you want to be helpful, and I could use some help, check the Amazon link under Show More underneath the video. Along where you'll also find my my paint pouring recipe. I do kind of want to meld some of those, but I'm afraid it won't work out, so I should take my own advice and just do whatever I want at this point, because it's not quite as far into the place that I'd like it to be. I really don't want to lose all my white, but I want to change things so that they're a lot more organic than they are. And some of them are good. I mean, I like it where the gold bled into the black. And that's not the mica. On the Amazon link, you're going to find that there's mica powders. And they're cool, and you can ask me how to mix those. It's very similar. I use almost the same exact recipe as I do for my paint. I just put as much powder in as I need when I start with my GAC 800. I think that this is going to have to be either part 1, or I'll decide I like it tomorrow. And I need a thinner squeeze bottle of the black, I think. I guess I get to see how I like the dots. Maybe I like the dots a lot, which means that I need to go ahead and dot a few things. And since I never set my timer, and we're probably a few minutes away from being done, I should probably quit now and come back later. But what I am going to do instead, if I lose you, you know what I need. I need a thumbs up. I'm just going to look for places that it seems like a good idea to add a few dots. And I really do love those. I love how that looks. So, for me, that's a good idea. It's kind of Aboriginal. That's okay. I have tremendous respect for Aboriginal art. I love it. It's just lots of fun, and I love fun. I hope I'm doing them justice by saying that I love them. So basically it's just down to dotting, and so if I'm still dotting when you disappear, I apologize. You should look for Teespring Clothing under the video. I have awesome